the vast majority of folks were very hesitant, and we had to show them this is empirically better. They were booking at a 43% rate, and we instantly were able to bump that up to the low 90s. Not only do we want the AI to be the best in class in this industry, but we also want the best in class human component as well.
We're about 8 months into using Avoca, and Avoca's been an awesome partner for us in our call center. So what Avoca does for us is they do two different things. One, they have their Coach product, and Coach has been helping us do what it says. Coach our CSRs every single day. It listens to every call and uses AI technology to basically pick apart that call and tell us where we can improve. And for the last 8 months, we've been consistently improving our scores, which has been awesome. The other product they have is just conventional booking. And it's an AI tool that books over the phone. A customer calls in and it either handles overflow, as in our phones are full, or it does nights and weekends for us. And a customer will call in and actually deal with an AI agent all the way through booking. And the savings inside call center has allowed us to ramp up our marketing to continue to grow even more. Thank you, Avoca, and thank you, Tyson, for your partnership.
Welcome back to Owned and Operated. Today, we've got a return guest. We have Tyson Chen from Avoca. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks so much, John. Great to be here.
Yeah, this will be fun. There's a couple podcasts, and I'm not even just saying this to like brown nose you because you're here. Like, there's a few episodes that I've had where like I refer so many people to, and our last one was one of those episodes, mainly around the whole idea of like right call, right CSR. So if you haven't heard that one, I wish I remembered what number it was, but search Tyson Chen and check back through the feed because that made a real impact on how we thought about call center staffing and routing. So yeah, that was awesome. But I'm excited to have you back. I'm looking forward to whatever nugget we get out of this one.
Yeah, appreciate it. And excited to be here. Great to see you again, Jack, as well.
All right. For people that didn't catch the first episode, I'm also going to encourage you to just listen back. How about you just describe your background really briefly and just what Avoca is all about, and then we can get into the meat and potatoes.
Yeah. In summary, Avoca is the leading AI agents platform for the home services, focused on call center first and foremost. We have two main product lines, Coach, which listens to every single call that your CSRs take and gives them feedback and allows them to be the best version of themselves. And then we have Responder, which is essentially an AI CSR that takes incoming calls, books them directly into ServiceTitan or whatever CRM at a higher rate than any answering service you've ever used. And then also now we have some more features, which I'm excited to share a little bit later on.
I think we're about a year in. March, I think, of last year, we started working with you guys.
Yep. Exactly.
So yeah, we're a user, and it's been awesome.
It's crazy because it feels like that. It doesn't feel like that episode was that long ago. I mean, it was one of the first two that we actually dove into AI and the capabilities of AI outside of just like ChatGPT to help us out with emails or something like that.
Yeah, what I guess that would be an interesting place to start is just from AI's obviously moved fast in every industry, but home service, it's really felt like it's moved very fast. Like, obviously, you guys are at the forefront of it, but what else are you seeing in industry? Like, how else is AI being implemented?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different places. I mean, I think, there's a lot of other builders in this space that we're very close to. Obviously, there's the folks doing, the ride-along software, Rilla, Ciro, and many others in that space. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening in the world of dispatch as well, and ProBook, automating the role of a dispatcher. There's also text automations, so softwares like Chirp and Hatch. I think there's a lot of different things coming, and I think also, especially in the last 3 months, even within all of these different domains, us included, there's been an influx of additional entrants as well. So I think it's one of these things where folks are starting to see the impact that AI is making, and there's an abundance now of folks that are trying to enter the space. after seeing
Yeah.
how well companies are doing.
How do you view this competition? Is this competition more along the lines of all the boats in the harbor rise together, or is this direct competition stealing market share? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I think for us, it's kind of like when the first CRM, cloud CRM came into play, like Salesforce, and we viewed it a very similar way where right now, if you look at the percentage of any home service industry that is using AI, although it may sound like a lot because a lot of big players are adopting it, in terms of overall fraction, it's still very, very low, like probably
Yeah.
significantly lower than 1% of the entire industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us, we still feel like it's still completely kind of wide space.
Yeah.
So we view the competition as validating more than anything. We're the first really to have a kind of clean and production ready product in market. And so we see like all these new folks coming in really as validation, and that this market is really going to grow. And I think for us, it's just about continuing to push our lead and capitalize on that.
Yeah, I remember. It sort of like feels like back to CRMs. It feels like Service Titan has this like dominant share of the market, and I think I don't remember where I read this, but they only have like 10,000 customers, which is a lot. Like that's not like small, but out of millions of like potential customers, they have like 1%. And it was crazy how it does feel like heavy adoption, but
yeah. And at the end of the day, we feel like, the thing that's definitely going to be displaced in a very, very big way very soon is after hours answering services. So there's hundreds of these legacy answering services.
Yeah.
Those businesses, unless they adapt in a very significant way, are probably going to be fading pretty quickly. And we feel that competition generally, it's also very good for the consumer, right? And then the businesses like the ones that you guys own, right? Like, we'll continue to push each other to improve and raise the quality bar.
It has been interesting to watch more and more use cases come out. I think, we're starting to see some movement in like sales apps that have an AI component, which I think that's kind of interesting. Yeah, ProBook has been cool. Just like general shout out. They have been really cool. I think they're in New York too, right? Like, are you guys like, yeah, they're a good group. But yeah, it's just interesting as more and more, it's wild. I always think back to, I was on a ski trip last February, probably a year ago. And Jack and I did an episode, and the episode was like, what do we think AI will change in the trades? And I think about that friggin' episode all the time because like a lot has happened.
Yeah.
It's been fun to look back to. As you're bringing on these, like clients into Avoca, what's a win? Like, what have you seen been the big victory out of like implementing AI in call center?
Yeah, I mean, that's really the thing that gets me excited to wake up every day. I think are some of the ways that we've really kind of transformed and impacted customers. I think two come to mind super kind of recently. One is we did an implementation for a large company in Tennessee, and within the first week, the previous answering service, which is a big recognized like national brand, they were booking at a 43% rate, and we instantly were able to bump that up to the low 90s. And that's just booking rate. That's not even impacting abandonment rate. And so when you think about net booking rate, it's even higher than that, over 2x the increase. It was so immediately tangible that when you looked at the actual boards of how full it was the week previous, and then after implementing Avoca, it was ridiculous. And they got so much, it was so many jobs that they had now booked that they had to hire new technicians. They had to hire new personnel to be able to keep up with the demand. So I think that was one of the ones that was immediately, like recently, a huge win. The other one was...
Wait, before we jump from there, Tyson, I'm not going to ask you who it is, not just because I'm in Tennessee, but
Hiller,
one of the big ones. but on a serious, yeah, rhymes with Miller. But on a serious note, what aspect did they are you referring to specifically? Is this the automated after hours service, or is
Yeah.
this the coaching? Where are you seeing the most
This was
value?
purely the AI responder, and I think the interesting part is I think last time we spoke maybe around 9 months ago, John, it was we were focused predominantly on I guess what we would consider the biggest pain point, which is everyone's after hours overflow answering service sucks, and we can provide a much better version of that. Now I think the AI has gotten to the point where we've iterated on so much. We've improved every little detail. Like every time the AI, it's very similar to my time in working in the autonomous vehicle industry, where every single mistake the autonomous vehicle made, we would figure out why it made that and then correct that. And so that's kind of the same level of intensity and kind of iteration we've applied to Avoca. So now it's significantly better, and we're able to not only take just your after hours overflow calls, but a significant portion of your day to day
Yeah.
calls here. And even for like large, like $100 million companies, we're able to take sometimes 80 to 90% of their entire call volume. But yeah, anyhow, to answer your question originally, Jack, it is the AI CSR product called Responder.
I visited, this was in August, I think, of last year. I visited Josh down at Rescue, Josh Campbell.
Yeah.
And I think they had just a month or so it was like right around that time. I could have my timing off, but like they had just switched over to like full AI answering. And I was like, what the fuck? that's a lot. Or like they still had a few, but their call center, like high teens, low 20s business somewhere in there. And, they had like 2 call takers or something. It was like an outrageously low number, maybe 3. I don't even remember. There was only 1 there that day.
I just got an email from one of the kind of larger customers that we had onboarded around 4 months ago. And he was like, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. We're able to run an entire $100 million business with just 9 CSRs through utilizing Avoca, which like before they would have needed 40, 50, right? So, I mean, John, like I think, what's your experience?
So we've had 2 really big changes to our call center in the past year. One of them's been Avoca, and one's been like a compensation change that we've really championed. So I think like a combination of those 2 things. But right now we're running the leanest call center that we've ever run team wise. And like our abandon rate is obviously very low because we set, if we don't pick it up in 7 seconds, then I think we set it so Avoca picks up at 7 seconds. Like basically no call goes past 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Because that's a number that I'm unreasonably passionate about. But I think we're down to 7, maybe. I mean, it might be 8. But like at one point we were at 18, 19. So it was significant. And now some of that's like a bunch of that was overflow in weekends. That's where we saw a ton of our dynamic changing because we had, I don't know if our daytime changed much. We might have tightened that up by 2, but we had a ton of people set for like 24 hours. We had them set up for weekends, and we just don't have to do any of that anymore.
And I think the interesting thing there is it's like the types of things that CSRs are spending their time on is a little bit more aligned to what you want them to be, which is like all of the things where 50% of calls are not at all revenue sensitive, right? It's an inquiry about billing. It's someone wanting to, perhaps reschedule, ask about an ETA is an extremely common one. All of those different things where you don't need an amazing CSR to sell the brand can be automated now by the Avoca agent. So I think that's really where kind of there's been a pretty large inflection. And so, yeah, great to see the results that you're experiencing.
Well, and it's sort of like right time, right? Like everyone's looking for savings. Everyone's having pressure on their top line. Everyone's having margin compression. So like being able to, for us, it was like 30 grand a month of savings. So it was a lot. That's a lot of money. So being able to just add that back in and use it for marketing or literally anything else was a win.
And then even patching the holes as well in terms of the booking rates too, right? Like usually, again, like with just the fact that we are able to pick up every call in the first ring, that just adds so much to your true booking rate, getting rid of any abandonment rate, and then all of these other things that we've added on top in terms of callbacks, text backs, like all these things. And really,
I don't even know if we're using that stuff. I got to follow up with Lori.
Yeah.
Maybe you would know. Am I using this?
You're using some of the callbacks, but
that's interesting.
But yeah, we have actually just launched a few new functionalities as well. So
what else have you guys pumped out? I'm going to follow up with Lori on the callback and text back. That sounds cool.
Yeah, big thing too. I'll say one thing on both responder and coach. So on the responder side, one of the new things we've launched is outbound calling. So being able to do happy
Dude, that's
calls.
Crazy.
That is wild.
I'm gonna ask the first question that came into my head that probably came into everyone's head. Is that legal? Because I thought there was some restrictions on what TCPA, whatever it is. But like I thought AI agents outbounding, I know there's some limits there, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of limits. It's different state by state. Generally speaking, if you've gotten written consent to market to them, and if we're announcing that it's an AI agent, that it is legal. And then beyond that, there's already a lot of like folks that do like AI text campaigns and stuff like that as well.
Okay, walk us through the AI outbounding. That's wild.
Yeah, so with the AI outbounding, there's really a few different use cases. The first two that we're focusing on is one is pretty simple one, happy calls. So being able to automatically trigger a happy call after a visit, seeing how well you did, getting actual feedback. I think the nice part is it's actually an advantage that it is AI because folks we found are actually a lot more receptive to telling actual feedback as opposed to if it's a real person. Sometimes people don't give the real because they're afraid of hurting their feelings. And then we're building this out where if the person gives a 10 or 9, we actually ask them to then leave a review. So it helps in getting more 5-star reviews as well.
Are you tracking that for like NPS? Because I feel like that would,
yes,
you'd be able to record that, almost print it into NPS. Like, hey, you got it's not an influencer. I'm forgetting what 9 and 10s are, but they like market for you. What's the right word here?
Promoter, I guess.
Thank you, promoter. So they're a promoter.
So exactly, and we show all of that in a dashboard exactly like that. Directly, you can see your NPS. Then the second thing is routine maintenance. So for members, when you need to fill up the board, automatically scheduling an outbound call and saying, hey, you're on your membership, you get a free checkup. When do you want to schedule that? And then we can schedule that directly into your CRM as well. So that's the second use case. And then the third one is actually running promotions. So let's say you guys are really, not getting much business in the month of February, the month of March. You can use our outbound to actually provide promotions. Like, hey, we're doing a $55 off, drain cleaning, something like that.
And is there any success stories with this? Because I mean, not to be the Debbie Downer in the room, but I'm trying to wrap my head around me receiving an AI phone call, and I don't know if I'd be as receptive to AI versus a person.
Yeah, so we've only launched the first two things. We've seen pretty good success with the first one, happy calls.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a lot more successful than even a human calling. And then around routine maintenance, we've only been beta testing this with 3 folks, but it's been pretty good in the sense that because it's free, it's not like a tough sale. It's not like, hey, like convincing you to pay money to an AI. It's like, hey, this is a benefit that you have. We can schedule it for tomorrow if you want. And we're directly integrated into ACP so we can see exactly the availability as well.
I kind of want to hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just sitting here that's crazy. I want to hear it. But I mean, I can see the huge amount of leverage. I mean, at this point, I mean, that would be crazy. It's almost like I could see it being like too much. Like what's the limit? Too much is in like you could burn out a whole list in like 10 minutes. Like, cause there's no limit, right? Like you just,
Yeah.
hey, let's call 100,000, call the list right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we could exactly do that. Yeah, there's really no limit with like the amounts that we're talking about here.
How do you deal with, one of the things that we dealt with as we like ramped up our outbound discipline maybe a year ago was because I don't remember exactly why. It has something to do with like how many calls you make that don't get answered or something like that. But our number was showing up as spam. And we had to bring on this extra software to like unspam the phone number. How are you dealing with that, especially with AI? Because you're like pumping out more volume than humans basically ever could.
Absolutely. So great question. And yeah, exactly. Like the pickup rate, just like for email, influences this stuff a lot. We do monitor that quite a bit and make sure that we're always basically using new numbers so that the numbers are not making it to spam. So that's kind of the way that we're essentially cycling through these new numbers in the back end so that it always shows. And also we always use the local area code. So whatever area code you're in, it'll call from that area code. And then, as soon as we notice that the numbers are being marked as spam, we'll swap it to a new number.
It'd be sweet.
Yeah.
It's like speed to lead.
Yeah. We actually,
that would be like absolutely sick. Or like, or even like rehash, we just did a home show and we got like 300 contacts. And I think we got 85 or 90 appointments, but like the big thing you optimize there for is you have your contacts, appointments, and then what's your demo rate or your sit rate? And like, how do you fix the gap? So like if we booked 100 appointments, but 40 canceled, so we only demoed 60 of them. Well, how do we get another 10 on the books? And it's all through like persistent outbounding, basically, to the point of obnoxious outbounding.
Yeah, no, that's actually something we also have. So for Yelp, Angie's List, Google LSA, being able to instantly respond and then initiate an outbound call to that person. So that's something that we have that functionality, and we'd love to have you test it out as well.
I will literally do that today.
Yeah, that would be huge because I know that it's an issue for our team as well. It's like when you're running all these aggregators, right? You can get bombarded with calls at any point, with leads at any point in time, 9, 10, 11, 12 p.m. And if you do not get back to them, somebody is beating to it. And we've tried to automate that. It's John's personally calling. If you go on Angie's and you go to Wilson, you'll find John at 10 in the morning.
Yeah. How do you deal with the like with Angie's specifically? It's sort of like how it interfaces with Hatch, right? So, and we've talked to Hatch about this, but I don't really know about the other ones. But with Hatch, the way it works, and they're actively fixing this. I think they might have just fixed it, but it's not like a pipeline. So like I get a lead and the lead comes in and there's automatically, I don't know if it's an API. I don't know exactly how the lead connects, but it connects somehow. And then we send a message out and then it doesn't become a conversation until they respond back. And the problem is that we can't outbound that person because we don't actually have their data inside Hatch. It's only native to whatever the lead ag is. So have you guys, like, how would that work? Because that's a part of the problem we're trying to solve is, and like, I think Hatch launched like a pipeline thing. So now we can manage that a little bit better. But like, okay, if I got 100 leads from Angie this week, we sent all the messages, we sped to lead for text, but only 50 of those 100 responded. How do we get the other 50 on the board if they're not inside Hatch already? So you guys think you could somehow interface, like put yourself in the middle?
Recently, we've been experimenting with lead aggregators, and one of the ones I'm most excited about is a company called Modernize. So what Modernize does is they do direct inbound calls for home improvement. So it's a direct phone call booking, which is way easier to book and has a much higher book rate than an Angie's List or something like that, where you have to sort of recontact them and try to find that that customer, Modernize has a direct connection to our call center. So that's been a huge win. It also has some of the services that we've really struggled to get good leads for: water heater replacements, HVAC units, and water damage restoration and water quality. Those ones have been challenging for us to get leads, and Modernize has been a really great partner for us. So make sure you check out modernize.com.
Yeah, I mean, we're able to directly access Angie's and Yelp through either our API. It depends customer to customer, depends on their API level access, and then otherwise we can even use computer control to directly kind of read this stuff off. And so in that case, with the 100, as long as they're in there and we can read it off, you can actually develop sequences. So basically, being able to first shoot a text. If they don't respond within a certain, call it at 12 hours, then you can fire a phone call as well. So you can essentially initiate sequences within the speed to lead capabilities.
For, you a couple minutes ago, you said like the big probable loser in this like next year or so is going to be a traditional call center model. Have you seen some of these traditional call centers pick up AI in a meaningful way?
I've seen a few. I've seen a few try. I think the issue is that it's just fundamentally a very, very different paradigm and a very different business structure that they're used to. So, anyone can build something very basic that sounds like cool for a demo, but to actually get the AI well, and also to build in the human in the loop component that is able to continue the conversation, not drop context, and give the human all of the things that have happened in the conversation in a very fast way, so the conversation is smooth. All of those individually are extremely difficult engineering challenges. And so the issue with traditional call centers is that they just don't have the talent really necessary. And then even on the onboarding front, right, there's just so many things that we've learned and refined in how do you figure out onboarding, the change management associated with it. There's just so many layers to it that in order for an old like BPO or traditional call center to do this effectively, they'd have to completely transform their organization.
Yeah, what I've seen start to happen is this eventually like disruption disrupts, right? So like it is what it is. But I've seen almost like a dissection of like, hey, over here, like we're going to adopt AI and do the thing. And over here, the opposite argument is, hey, our advantage is that we're not AI, like we're a human component. That's been like their argument is like, oh yeah, we're, more hands-on. Has that been something that you guys have like dealt with or competed against, or like has it just been all signs go?
Recently, I mean, yeah, in early days, I would say the vast majority of folks were very hesitant, and we had to show them, case studies and all this to kind of show them that this is empirically better. Recently, we've been getting more and more interest. Like I think it's really in terms of the adoption curve. Right? You have the innovators, the early adopters, the early majority. I think we're squarely in the early majority now, where folks that want to get a leg up are actually thinking about this. I think the nice part with Avoca in particular is that we're not just AI. We have AI, but we also have a staff of highly trained CSRs that are actually very much trained in a sales way, so that they're always trying to book the calls. And so our whole idea is that not only do we want the AI to be the best in class in this industry, but we also want the best in class human component as well. And so that way, even for customers that really are in, let's say, really rural parts of the country, that they're able to also have an amazing experience.
Yeah, it'll be interesting over the next few years. And like, how long does an advantage last to an early user? Because I think right now, like there's a cost savings component. But what happens in 2 or 3 or 5 years when more of the industry's on there? Like, is that cost saving component gone for some reason? And now there's like downward pressure because our overhead's lower. Like, is this like, are the next 2 years the years to win?
Yeah, I mean, we absolutely feel like it. I think for us, as I mentioned, there's definitely a lot of new competitors that are entering now. I think in terms of our advantages, one is that even on the go-to-market side, we're capturing a lot of and working with a lot of the leading industry leaders, and so that's going to help
Yeah.
the product forward. And then, yeah, realistically, I think technologically, we have the multi-month advantage. But the thing is about the industry that's so interesting is that because the technology is moving at such an incredible pace, where we are now versus 3 months ago is light years different. And where
Yeah.
we're going to be in 3 months, our motto is the Avoca 3 months later is going to put the Avoca today out of business. Is how much just a few months difference makes. And so that's kind of how we see it. And I think exactly the next 2 years is really when I think we'll start to see a clear market leader emerging. And I think in these kind of industries, it's really like, the number one player. If you look at, for example, Service Titan versus Housecall Pro, or if you look at Salesforce versus HubSpot, there is such a massive difference between the number one and the number two player.
Well, speaking of Avoca 3 months from now, what do you see, or what can you talk about that's on the horizon that are going to be just these awesome projects you guys are working on, or awesome features that you see coming to fruition?
Yeah, I mean, there's a variety of things, but I think our thing has always been focused. We want to create the number one AI CSR. We want to make, not just on the cost side, right? Like our primary value proposition is we want to build the CSR that is able to book your jobs at a higher booking rate than anyone else. And so that's still going to be our kind of top insane focus. I think there's some interesting things that we're also doing upstream. So on bringing AI into marketing and kind of helping to operationalize and improve where your marketing dollars are spent. And so, yeah, I won't share too much about that, but that's something that's coming.
I mean, the outbounding thing is huge in itself. I mean, if that can be locked down and works well, I mean, that's an absolute game changer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's so neat.
Yeah, I think it's cool because it's up and downstream. Like it's almost one of the downsides of Service Titan. I'm curious how you think about this. One of the downsides of Service Titan is it's like literally too big. So I don't even know what the minimum size is anymore, but it's probably like 10 trucks or something, which is still like big. So I don't even know if they onboard you under that, but maybe they do. But it feels like there's a use case here for like 100 million, and there's a use case here for like, I'm a one dude, and maybe even a better use case for the I'm a one dude, because like they literally can't support a human.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. And the interesting thing is in this industry, home services, while there's more and more aggregation, we hear about all the private equity roll-ups. We were just talking about that a little bit before the show. If you look at where most of the revenue is, actually, it's still in that long tail. And exactly right, like we are able to service those. And so, if you're a man in the van, before you even get a CRM, you're probably going to need to get someone that can pick up the phone for you 24/7 and just, put them on, like, confirm a time. And so that's exactly what we can do. So I think you're exactly right. The use cases are a little bit different, but I would almost argue the upside is even larger. Because for you, John, you had an after hours answering service before. So the value for you is cost reduction of whatever, the $30,000 a month, but B, we're able to increase your revenue a bit, maybe like, booking rate increased by around 15-20%. For a man in the van who goes to voicemail, that increase isn't 15%. That's from voicemail that has like an efficacy of 5% to all of a sudden, 85% with our booking rate. So that delta is just so much bigger with the smaller guys.
Is that typical of what you're seeing, Tyson? Is that going from a after hours booking service to Avoca will save you that kind of money?
Save you the money and
better
also
service.
So I'll give you the high level, right? Like save you probably around anywhere from 30 to 40% based from your previous answering service, and also increase your booking rate by around 15%.
Mic drop.
Yeah, I mean it's a big. I know it was for us. Like we were using Probably Schedule Engine, I think. And they went through just a shit show of an acquisition with Service Titan. I mean, it was a really good, like the product itself, the widget or whatever is still good. Like we're still users of that, but their after hours at one point was better than our internal call center. Like we like downsized our call center because it was just, they were better. And then they got acquired by Service Titan and that was just absolutely awful. I don't think anybody that was with them prior is like still with them, but yeah, that was our experience. We saved a ton of money. It was awesome. And just frankly, better experience because it was really very, very bad. Schedule Engine was very bad.
Tyson, can you talk a little bit about specifically like what does onboarding look like for something like that? What's the lift that it takes? Say for me, so we don't have an after hours service. We utilize people, but if we were going to switch to Avoca, what does that look like for me? How do I get onboarded? What does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So
This is a pitch.
We should totally get you guys on, but
so Jack, you're actually not using the platform,
Avoca?
Dude, I've been telling you about it for like a year.
I know.
Okay, all right. Continue. I couldn't tell if you were like joking or not.
Yeah. So basically, 2 weeks total onboarding process. We start by understanding your general scheduling. We have a few templates, like best-in-class templates that we've worked with a lot of our customers based on. So based on the size of your business, whether or not you do emergency, whether or not you do weekends, what type of services that you guys do, we'll have already a general template that should get you around 90% of the way there. Then you just give us access to your Service Titan. You use Service Titan, right?
Yeah.
You give us access to your Service Titan. You fill in the knowledge base of like questions. You give us a job type mapping, and then we take all of that. We train the system, and then we give you an initial number to test with in the first week, and then we have structured testing, which is like, hey, here are all of the different types of paths that a customer can go down so that you're completely covered. We do a mutual testing plan. So like your team tests it 20 times, we test it 20 times, and then make any iterations. And then we'll usually that's one more turn. And then the second week we'll do a final kind of testing call. And if everything works well, it'll go live. So yeah, it usually just takes like, with your call center manager, around 3 to 4 hours. You get a dashboard. But yeah, if you're using voicemail right now, there's a lot of upside that I can see from you guys using us.
I'm sure you have the data, but like, what do you think the percentage of your clients that are using like the full AI phone service? This is just like industry vibes. How many people are like, yes, AI take over my call center
versus the hybrid, right?
Right. Like, cause I think we're still hybrid, but I'm sure people would, I'm curious of just like, all right, how many of my competitors have AI running their call center?
Yeah, I would say out of our customers, it's typically what we recommend is that larger customers use hybrid, because hybrid, you're just going to get a higher booking rate. And again, that's the number one thing. Full AI, the booking rate is significantly higher than it was before because of how human-like we've gotten it and how well we've been able to engineer the conversations. But it's still probably around 5% lower overall booking rate. And so usually it's like, I'd say companies that are, under 10 million, under 5 million, there's a larger percentage that use full AI, maybe like 60, 70%. And then for the companies that are larger than 10 million, the vast majority we recommend, and also they do use hybrid because they want, every single percentage of that booking rate matters to them.
What percentage of clients are like full AI?
Of overall clients, it's still, it's probably around 30%.
That is a lot more than I would think. That's incredible.
Recently we've gotten a lot more of the smaller, like under 5 million shops you mentioned.
Yeah, well, and I think for them, just the argument's so good. I actually, I'm sort of kicking myself that I didn't think about this a couple of days ago, but I was talking with a friend of mine and he was like actively trying to solve this problem. And for some reason, I don't know why I didn't think about it. So I'm going to have to text him, but he was like, yeah, dude, what do I do about this? And he's like a 4-truck operation.
Like
So he
trying
like
to, what was the main problem that he was trying to solve? Like the fact that he didn't
after hours.
after
So he called me up and he's like, "Hey man, I'm talking to the CSR and like she's great, she's amazing." And she said she can pick up the phone after hours and like I can make that a part of her job. And I was like, "Yeah, I don't think that's really going to work the way you think it's going to. Like she's going to be busy with her life. It's going to go to voicemail. You're going to lose it. Maybe you should bring on additional staff or you should do something." And but yeah, for him, like he literally just can't do it. Like, you know, it's a 4 truck operation. It's a very small operation. So
yeah, and I'm imagine even during the day if folks are busy, like I guess
yeah,
he's the only one that's taking calls, right?
yeah, he doesn't have. Yeah, he has a call taker now, but they're like replacing with the new one. Yeah, I don't. Maybe he must have asked me. It must have been hiring related. I don't even know. I'm like, how did that not cross my brain? A full AI thing would be like obviously just make a ton of sense for that size of a business.
For that size of business, significant improvements from voicemail, and then
just like huge profit win.
Huge profit win. I mean, and again, like I've said before, even if he's on the job, like if he's taking like 30 seconds to pick up, or you know his one CSR, if you only have one CSR, if they're on a call, you're done, right? Like you're gonna, if another call comes in,
yeah,
there's a busy time, then you might miss 2 or 3 calls, and so even if you know pick up in 40 seconds, that's still quite a while. You're already leaving the customer feeling in kind of not a great place. So imagine being able to pick up each of these calls on the first ring and be able to book them.
This was awesome, dude. I feel like I'm really walking away excited as hell about this outbounding thing. Like I'm about to look into this. The speed delete especially.
Yes.
Like I think the happy call is really interesting. The routine main is really interesting.
Yeah.
But the speed delete is like, that's an actionable, like I would win today with that feature. So Lori will be calling you in 20 minutes to get that set up.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. All right. If people want to learn more about Avoca, how do they get it? Where do they find it?
Yeah. So easiest way is to just book a demo on our website, www.avoca.ai. Avoca is spelled AVOCA. And then, otherwise happy to folks to email me as well. I'm just Tyson at avoca.ai.
All right, dude. Thanks for coming on again. This was fun. I'm looking forward to bringing you back on in like another 3 to 6 months and be like, what changed?
Avoca 3 months from now. Excited.
Yeah. We'll have, I'm sure, a variety of interesting things. So, yeah, always a pleasure, guys. And Jack, we'll get you set up.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. If you like what you heard, check out ownedandoperated.com and make sure you check out our upcoming workshop. Avoca is going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about best-in-class call centers. Ownedandoperated.com.